Today I'm chatting with Kina DeSantis, realtor and founder of Reframe Real Estate, about how she has grown her team's sales to almost 150 million to date over the past 4 years, just by growing her social media through organic leads, not paid leads, organic. So Kina, thank you so much for sharing and kind of demystifying social media and how someone can realistically grow their business.
Hey, thanks for having me. I think social media, I wouldn't be in real estate without social media. So I got lucky when the pandemic hit and everyone was on TikTok. But, and it's 150 million almost just from social media. But then we also have more sales who are referrals from the social media buyers, SOY, or just like leads that we've met through open houses. But the bulk of our business and the driving force of going from one sale to 200 plus in the last 4 years was 100%
Yeah,
social
yeah, that's
media.
incredible. Very unheard of in today's world. And yeah, you just hit the perfect storm. You were on social media right at COVID when everyone else was going to social media when they were stuck at home.
Yeah, everyone was just scrolling, and I thought TikTok was for kids. And my boyfriend, fiance at the time was like, now husband, he's like, you need to be on this. And I'm like, I don't think so. And then he started scrolling, and I'm starting to watch. And I'm like, oh, you could. I'm getting like local content on this, you
Yeah.
know? And I started posting, and within like a month or two, I started getting people DMing me, following me on Instagram. Like it was so fast.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, I can't wait to dive into that. Yeah, I was the same way. I thought TikTok was for kids and teenagers, and then during COVID, when we were really bored and we didn't have anything to do, it's like, well, let's just see what this world is. And at first, it wasn't good. Like it was teenagers dancing, and I do like dances, but that's not all I want to see. But the
Yeah.
algorithm was so smart, and it knew really quickly where I'm located, what I was interested in, and so people who are interested in real estate, buying or selling homes, the algorithm is going to pick up on that. So if you're on your top game with social media and playing the algorithms correctly, then you'll show up on their feed and start to get DMs like you did. Um, Before we
Totally.
dive into it, I wanted to give a little background about you because you had mentioned before we started recording that your background's in tech sales. And I was doing a little bit of research about you, and you've actually been working since you were 13.
I have. So my family is in the restaurant business. And when I was 13, my dad opened a pizza place that was close enough to my parents' house because I couldn't drive, so they would have to take me.
Yeah.
And that was my first job. I worked literally full time in the summers and then did that for a few years and then went to work at my dad's office. And then by the time I was 17, so my senior year of high school, is when I started finding out like I had a real passion for tech and startups. And I like kind of just doubled down on it. I went to Chapman in Orange,
Mhm.
in Orange County. And so it was local. That's where I'm from. I'm OC based. And they actually like hired me to help work. I had a startup that I was working on. It was a whole thing. I actually started working at my university before I attended. So at my like freshman orientation, I led the business school events for my
Oh,
own
wow.
like orientation week. So I've just
Awesome.
like nonstop worked. But all things that I like doing, like I've never really had a job that I didn't like. Uh,
Mhm.
and I used to work, like I was running operations at a startup
Mm.
before I transitioned into real estate. So it really
So
lends itself.
how I'm curious to learn about that story. How do you go from tech, startups, operations to real estate agent?
I got my license because my dad was like, so we're a business family, like 5 generations, everyone's got a business.
Oh, wow.
Small business, like mom and pop, not like crazy huge businesses, but like that's our on both sides of my family, my Singaporean side and my Italian side, which is crazy to think about, right?
Yeah, that's so
So
rare.
it would have just been weird if I had like a job for the rest of my life because that was so foreign to my family. And so I knew like having a real estate license is at least an avenue to having to growing something on your own, whether it's like through having rental properties or just something in real estate. I did not want to be an agent, actually. I
Mm.
told my dad, I'm like, I'm not going to be an agent. Agents are cheesy. They are just out for commission. I didn't love like any real estate agents that I didn't really know any. So I was just like, no. And then I just got my license though, and like you can kind of tell I'm a workaholic. So when I had my full-time job, I was also tutoring a kid on the side. My husband and I were
Mm.
saving money to buy a place.
Mhm.
And then on top of that, I was doing real estate, like listening to Bigger Pockets.
Mm.
I nonstop. Like I think I listened to hundreds of episodes. Um, Listening to Bigger Pockets nonstop. Um, like I would be doing open houses. I had no idea what was going on in real estate when I first started, and no one to really train me either.
Mhm.
So, but when the pandemic hit, I was like, okay, I got furloughed, as
Mm.
everyone did, and
Mhm.
it was great because I had all this extra time. Um,
I'm not sure how many people would
and
say it was great, but I'm glad you saw it was a great.
it was great because we still had the income at the time. So I was like,
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
I could focus on real estate, and then my husband took over the tutoring. So I had now all of a sudden all of this time. So I just like put 100% of it into real estate. Because I'm like, well, this is a good use of time right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm learning. In the beginning, I was taking videos of houses. I sold my first house April 2020. Or I got an escrow then. So I sold it in May. I sold my second and third homes in July. So it took me like a month to really like get that cycle going in the beginning. But I was touring houses, I was looking at inventory, I was doing the research, all putting it all on my social media. And then what would happen was I was educating myself as a newer agent, but
Mhm.
also educating other people. And then it kind of just took off. Like I started posting those what X gets you in X city
Uh-huh.
videos
Uh-huh.
every day before anybody else did. And now everyone
Oh, that's
posts.
so cool.
Yeah. I'm like, okay. I'm
So who
sure other
did
people have made those before, but I think I was the
Yeah.
only one who did them like every single day.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, now that's all you not all you see, but you see that all the time now of what
Yeah.
X gets you in X area with the face in front of the, screen share. So
Yeah.
the first, 1, 2, 3 sales, what did those people come from?
First one was my friend and coworker from my past job. The second and third and like fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, all from social media
Wow.
and so forth. Um, Everyone really was from like I still need to, but I haven't because I've been heads down. I don't really post very much on my personal Instagram. Like I don't work on activating my SOI if a friend or a family
Yeah.
member is like, "Hey, can I work with you?" I'm like, "Yeah." Um, but that's not how I'm building my business. I'm really focused on all the people that are like-minded who find me from an algorithm, who are like, "Hey, I see 10 realtors on TikTok and you're the one that I really like and relate
Connect
to,"
with.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, you wanna work with people that jive with you, that have, personalities that work well. You don't wanna just work with anybody who's looking to buy or sell, and so sort of that defining your target demographic is very true for social media. You want to attract the perfect client, for sure. So you mentioned starting to post on social media and you're doing all these trainings, bigger pockets. Did you do a training course for social media or did you just take what you knew by just using social media yourself and you started posting?
So, I am not an expert at social media by any means. I'm also not somebody who like loves posting on social media. I'm really not. In my head, I look at what's information that's going to help people,
Mhm.
educate people, provide value. And if that's information that, especially when you're newer as an agent, if that's information that I would have liked to know, then I'm like, I will share this with people, you know? And I
Yeah.
only really share things that I think are valuable, important, because there's also agents who share clickbait things, right? Like
Yes. Yeah.
buy a house with 1% down. I'm like, it's either a real program or it's not, you
Mm,
know? It's either for everyone or it's not. Or like it's either a good it's either something of value or I'm not gonna post it, you
yeah.
know? Um, but at the time I had also my cousin who was 17 years old at the time, who like was always like the YouTube, TikTok
Mhm.
generation. I was like, "Hey, can you help me edit my videos?" I had edited, if you scroll all the way to the deep depths of my initial TikToks, I edited like the first 3 or 4 videos, and then I was like, "Okay, Jacquelina, can you please help me?"
Mhm. Yeah, they're pro
So
editors already.
yeah, I would film all the content and I would share it with her because I'm like, "This is just taking too long," and I'm like, "Let's build a website, let's build an email list,
Yeah.
let's do all these other things." So, that's really, like, how it happened in the beginning.
Does she still edit your videos today?
She does.
Wow.
Yeah,
She
she
full-time
does.
with you or
She's
part-time?
part-time because she's in college. Um, and so my team is me, I have a full-time assistant, her, she's part-time. And then I just hired a VA to help with some of the operational side of things.
Wow, that's so cool that your brain just thinks like that of, "Oh, this what 17-year-old probably knows more," which is true. I saw someone
Yeah.
post on YouTube, he hired at different price points. He hired 3 different people to edit a video, and one was like a 15-year-old. And he said that was actually really good for 15-year-old just editing on his phone using these different apps they use today. So it's pretty cool to see.
I I watch those videos all
Oh
the
yeah, paying 3
time.
different people, 3 like
Yeah,
$1, $100, $1,000. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I think, it's really like I'm probably not the smartest person in the room for most of the things that I'm doing, you know? So it's just having smarter people around you who are like, I can handle that, you know, or I can
yeah.
give ideas or thoughts, especially when it comes to social media, because I'm
Mhm,
not the smartest
mhm,
person for that, you know? I've got like I've got a really good knack for learning and then implementing, you know?
mhm.
But I'm not a great editor.
Yeah, yeah, that's a whole other world. Yeah, to have
No.
to learn and keep up with the trends, like, you have to be a scroller yourself to know and
Yeah.
think through that lens of, "Oh, that's a good idea. How would that translate to something I could post?" If you, are that type of person to kinda swipe and steal ideas you see.
Yeah, I have, like, the ideas for the content, but the editing is the hardest thing, and I think actually that's what stops most people from posting on social media is editing.
Yeah.
I think that's the main thing. So, like, a lot of people a lot of my friends even will be like, "Your posts look kind of janked sometimes."
Oh, no.
And I'm like it's like my story or something that I posted. And
Uh-huh.
I'm like, I just had to get that info out there, and I'm like, I have to get it out, I don't want to sometimes it's about, like, the information and just posting it out there so that people have it, but what's really interesting is a lot of people focus on perfect content, and I never
Yeah. Yeah.
I do have, like, nice film content, I haven't even posted it yet, it's not my priority, um, because there still needs to be a realness to you, people need to feel like you're approachable. I know people with hundreds of thousands of followers,
Mhm.
way less sales from social media,
Mm. Wow.
way less. I mean, like, not bad sales, but, like, 10, 15, 20 million of sales from social media, like cold leads that
Mhm.
turn into literal clients, people who you don't know or have no connection with, um, to like, versus I'm fresh, and I don't have like the craziest amount of followers, maybe like 30,000 across all the platforms,
Mhm.
which is a lot lower than hundreds of thousands of followers. But we're actually converting, you know? And not just that, you mentioned like the algorithm earlier. It's also the people who we're meeting are
Mhm.
people who we would all be friends with.
Yeah.
So it's not even just making it easier to meet people like that. It's also just making it easier and happier to just do business. You know,
Yes.
it's like
It's people
all
you
you
actually wanna work with. You're not dreading, "Oh, I have to go meet so and so."
yeah, like you're actually enjoying your day. That also contributes to workaholism. When you like I'm like every day I have a good time. The only time I'm like not really loving or enjoying what I'm doing is if I have to like sit down and look at my QuickBooks or something like
Mhm.
that. But everything else is truly a good time all the time, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and a little hack I learned, I don't know if you've ever done this on Instagram, which I have so much to learn, like, I'm just posting whatever I can post, and I'm not even thinking about strategy. I hope to improve that strategy later this year. But something I learned is when people follow you, you can message them, and I just message them like, "Hey, thanks for the follow. I'm curious what prompts you to follow me." And we've gotten so many sales from that of people that would have just been hiding and wouldn't have ever reached out, proactively. We've
Yeah.
gotten like 10 or 15 clients from it, just from saying, "Thanks for the follow." And they're
Do
like,
you
"Oh, yeah,
use
I'm curious. I love your videos."
do you use ManyChat for that? Or do you just directly
Oh, just
use
manually. I
Okay.
Can you do that in ManyChat?
I don't think you can. I
Yeah.
just implemented ManyChat and I looked into it to see if I could figure out a way to do it. Um, but that's like the next thing I have on my training with my virtual assistant.
Yeah, my virtual assistant's doing exactly that. Yeah.
Yeah. Because like if it's an agent, I can message them one thing. If it's a client, I
Yeah.
can message them another.
Yeah, exactly. So how do you decide which platform to post to?
So we post on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. We post on TikTok once a day. Instagram, we also post once a day on Reels. We post on my personal and my Reframe account. We also post 3 or 4 feed posts a week. I try to post like 3 stories a day. That's my job, and I do fall short on that when I get busy or sick. Um, and then what else? Oh, YouTube. YouTube Shorts, we've just been recycling old content. So we
Mhm.
started posting on there twice a day. Now we post once a day.
Mhm.
And then we're gonna start posting YouTube videos every 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Um, just to like diversify. Now it's not like we have 5 different videos that we have to make for every single day. We're like rotating them. So no, on any day, it's not like everything gets the same video.
Oh, okay.
So we actually like, spread it out.
So if you
But
post one video on Instagram, you might wait to post it on TikTok in a
for
couple of
like 2
weeks.
days.
Oh, 2 days, okay.
Yeah, or something like that, right? So it's not like someone's getting blasted and they're like, "I don't wanna follow Kina on all of the accounts?"
Yes, yeah.
Um, yeah, and then we optimize for different platforms. For TikTok, a minute and above is better. For Instagram, less than a minute is better right
Hmm,
now.
hmm. I would have thought the opposite. I would have thought people on TikTok would have a shorter attention span and watch less, and people on Instagram typically are like a, I guess, older demographic and would have the attention span. So that's kind of surprising.
So, in my opinion, and I don't this isn't like fact, I haven't really talked to a lot of people about this, but my understanding is like TikTok is 3 months ahead, 6 months ahead from Reels.
Hmm.
So, what's popular on TikTok today is going to be the next thing that Reels implements 6 months down the line.
Yes, yeah, okay.
Um, and so TikTok, they're trying to move towards long form
Long
video
form.
now.
Hmm.
Yeah. So if you're over a minute now, I and they also monetize their videos. We're not focused on the monetization of like how many people are watching for how long. Um, but because they make more money for longer videos. If you post
Oh,
longer videos, they're gonna push it out.
okay.
So, and then like even the like photo slides on TikTok are going
Hmm.
super viral right now, which is interesting, right? So I'm kind of I'm kind of excited to see how it impacts Instagram in the future. But Instagram, like even the trends I feel like are a little bit behind TikTok.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
this was popular on TikTok like 6 months
Yeah,
ago.
you'll see a
You know?
video and you say, I saw that 3 months ago.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. So, short videos on Instagram have been doing better for us than long videos.
Good to know. So how do you decide the type of content? You mentioned a little bit about educational, like as you were learning, you were also taking that content you were learning and translating it to social media. But yeah, how do you say this is a good piece of content, or this might be a good piece, but then you decide to trash it?
Um, okay. We should have like a more succinct plan. We're really about I've probably said it already, but information that I think people need to know, you know?
Yeah.
So, um I basically like I wouldn't recommend this for everyone because you have to when you start. Okay, so when you start, you need, hey, these are the four kinds of content that I am good at producing. I'm doing this consistently and I'm going to push myself to get this kind of content.
Hmm.
Okay, once you've got that down, now what I'm doing is the opposite. The content's being pushed at me versus me pushing the content. Meaning, my clients are asking similar questions. I'm like, I've got to make content about this.
Hmm.
I'll go to a home once a week with my video editor, Jacquelina, and we'll go and to a house and film, and I will literally just look at the house, walk around, talk about it, and she's like, "Okay, like, any short videos that you wanna make that are important about this house?" And I'll just, like, look around and I'm like, "Oh, this is really important to mention," or, "Oh, telephone poles, people have mentioned this before. Heads up, in
Oh,
Orange County, in these cities, because they're older, you're going to see them in a $500,000 home, in a $5 million home. It's unavoidable in
hmm.
certain areas, you know? And then people are like, oh, wow, that telephone pole video you made, so interesting. Because it's like
And
real
you wouldn't
questions.
have thought that that would be interesting. You just have to start
Yeah,
thinking like that when it's just things you already know, but
yeah,
people don't know.
100%, you know, like just sharing information that I think is valuable because I'm I'm hearing questions nonstop. I talk to probably like over 100 people a day. You
Wow.
know, I'm in a I'm in a lot of group chats. I'm in production. I'm working with clients. I know what the landscape is. And so whenever I learn something, I try to help everybody else learn it too. I'm not like gatekeeping information.
Yeah.
It's like the more you can share with other people, the more they're learning, whether even it's a realtor or a buyer or a seller, it's still it's just helpful information to share?
Yeah. You kind of have to look at your work day a little bit different, where you're always keeping an eye out for ideas for content. Of if someone asks you a question or you had a question you didn't know and you got answered, just your experiences kind of will help you create your own content. That's what I do personally, even though I'm not in real estate. Like I'm in the Facebook groups. And so I get tons of ideas for content of people asking questions. And if I know the answer, oh, hey, that's a great video. Or the telephone thing, you can create a short from that, or a reel, just from that one little tidbit of information. I recently started following two inspectors. I never thought I would be following inspectors on
Uh-huh.
social media, but they're so smart. They go to homes and then after they do the inspection, they'll go around and show the things that are funny that aren't working properly. And
Yeah.
they'll flap something around and then he'll show his face and say, it shouldn't do that. And then he'll go somewhere else and do something and go, it shouldn't do that. And so it makes me want to work with him, even though he's not saying, if you have inspection needs, reach out to me. Like,
Yeah.
I just want to reach out to him because he's so funny and I know he's knowledgeable and detail oriented.
Yeah. 100%. Like, I love watching inspectors on TikTok. Like, I love seeing, like, learning about houses, how they actually function. What's really interesting is there was a couple months last year where I had a bunch of buyers who were looking to renovate.
Yeah.
And so for us, a big thing with our buyers is they want to save money on the price and they have funds to go renovate later. And
Mhm.
so I renovated my own properties. I've, I've renovated properties for sellers before getting them listed. I have all these vendors that I've worked with consistently who I really know and trust, and I know what their prices are. Right? So I can walk into a room and be like, "Okay, you want like 4 lights and a dimmer? That's probably gonna be around $600, give or take 50 bucks, just depending
Mm.
on, the situation with the walls. Oh, but you've got like these kinds of walls or you're in a condo situation, it's gonna be a little bit different. We need to check with your HOA and let's look at like past listing photos to go see what other people have done because if nobody has recessed lighting, it's probably really expensive in your unit. Let's look at sconces.
Mhm.
That's a whole video in itself, and that's a
Yes, yeah.
real thing that
Yeah,
we
people have these dreams. They think,
Mhm.
"I'll buy a fixer-upper. I bet it'll be less than 100,000 or 50,000 to do a couple things." But you being able to, have those exact prices and then post those videos kinda gives people a reality check of, "This is exactly
Yeah.
what it's gonna cost."
Yeah, and, like, with, those buyers that I had last year, I'm like, I'm all we're doing is talking about renovations, you know?
Mhm,
Like, we don't need to dig into the inspection reports or, because it's a fixer, they're gonna tear it all
mhm,
down.
mhm.
But you do need to dig into your inspections. But you know what I mean? It's like a different conversation of like, "Oh, we need the seller to fix these things." No, we're buying the home as is, we're gonna go renovate it. We know we're buying a fixer, and so, like, what does that look like, in reality? Because I personally have bought new constructions. There's things that you wanna look out for in that situation. I
Mhm,
also just bought a fixer that we completely gutted, and there's different things to look out in that situation. So, it's, uh it's really cool to, like, ha real estate not to just be about buying and selling the house, it's more about, like, the long-term vision for people.
mhm.
At least that's who we get as clients, you
Yeah.
know? That's who specifically is looking to work with us. A lot of our buyers, we've helped buy second or even a third property,
Mm.
and that's just in the last 4 years.
So they're buying when you say second or third, you mean like they're selling their first house and buying a second one, or they're keeping their first house and now buying like investment properties with you?
Both.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so I mean, of course, people are moving up, right? They've got kids or they get another kid or, they're growing their family, their parents are moving in with them. They're selling and they're buying a bigger place. But
Yeah.
there's also people who are like, look, we're going to start with a small condo. We're going to upgrade to a townhome. Then we're going to get a single family. And they do that stack and they do it really well,
Mhm.
you know? So, especially like over the last few years, it was a great time to do that.
Yeah, I saw someone, I think it was an agent. It was pretty clever. I think they were brand new, so they didn't have all these experiences like you have. And so for a newer agent, it was pretty clever. What he did was he went to, oh, what's that website? It's kind of like the modern day Ask Jeeves, where people just post on forums and ask random questions.
Reddit?
No, not Reddit. It's the other one that's less
Quora.
complicated. Yeah, yeah, Quora, that he went to Quora and was just finding questions people ask and was creating videos from those questions and was
Yeah.
gathering a big following just from that. And so I thought that was pretty clever.
I love Quora. It had such a hold on me back in the day. Yeah, no, that's so great. There's so much information that people wanna know, and it's not like your info has to be for everyone, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's just if you're helpful, like people want to learn, you know? Like I'm not posting content because people aren't following me because I'm cool or have a fun lifestyle or, they're not following me for that.
Yes, yeah.
I'm pretty much at work or with my husband and dogs or at a concert. Those are my three places, you know? So it's really about real estate and
Yeah,
that's pretty much what it is. And so the people who follow are there for a
for
reason.
real
They're
estate.
not there. Yeah, they're not there because they want to be like me. They're there because they want to
You're
learn
not
from
an
me.
influencer. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not an influencer. I'm just a girl posting about homes.
So
nonstop.
you post like at least once a day on these different places. You
Mhm.
said we. So are you the only one creating video content? Are other team members now creating video content and posting on your channel?
Team members are creating content. We post that on the Reframe page. And then sometimes, so the way my team works is I have our whole big team across all of Southern California, pretty much, and the Bay Area. And so when I'm putting out content in certain areas, I have specialists in those areas. So when you reach out to my team, I'm overseeing everything and they're taking the lead in the areas that they're specialists in.
Hmm.
So I'll have people like reach out to me that they're interested in Chino, Corona, or an area that I have a really good specialist in.
Hmm.
I am not going, even if it's $1 million buyer, I'm not going to go work with that lead if
Hmm.
someone's better,
Hmm.
right? So someone's better and more local. So what we'll do is I'll have, say, Patrick on my team take lead because he lives in Ontario Ranch and knows that area so well. Um, and he'll actually take videos. So when I post them, people start messaging us about that area and then I can refer them to him. And so it's nice because I'm still in, like I told you, I get 100 group chats. I'm still in the group chats.
Hmm.
And I'm there for strategy negotiation and to make sure that we're all good to go and
Yeah,
everyone's using our education that I've built. But they also have the local specialist who like knows the
knows
agents
the
in the
area.
area, knows the inventory, knows the new construction coming up. Even when I bought my new build, I actually had one of my agents represent me because he brought me the deal and he knows the area and I don't. So,
That's
yeah.
cool. So you said like people DM you. Besides that, are you collecting leads in some other way? Like on the video, are you saying check out the link in my bio, or are people just direct messaging you?
I get a lot of DMs, I get emails, and I get um people who just straight up sign up on my like calendar for a call.
Okay. And what
Yep.
do you use Calendly for your call for your calls?
Calendly. Yeah. I
Yeah.
love Calendly. It just makes everything so easy.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I use it too for our team. So besides posting on social media and Calendly, what are other pieces of your, I guess, tech stack to make your life easier for managing these people?
So we're on Follow Up Boss. Follow Up Boss is the best, as I'm sure you feel.
Yes.
um we just implemented Follow Up Boss about a year and a half ago now. So we've gotten pretty integrated on that. We use the deals page on Follow Up Boss, probably a little different than most people, but we're like that's where we house all of our clients, all of our like that's our lead management.
Okay.
We use your action plans. So people are actually getting dripped when they sign up for a certain workshop. What was nice is I didn't really understand what action plans were when I joined,
Hmm.
or when I joined Follow Up Boss or activated it. And somebody that I work with was like, "Oh, you just sign up for this and implement it whenever you're ready." So I'm like, "Okay." So I just signed up for it. Like, I don't know. I had no
Oh,
idea
how
what I was
funny.
doing. I'm
Just
like,
following the
"Okay."
instruction.
Yeah, because if like somebody smart tells you to do something, you might not be ready for it today, but you need to do it, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So that's what I did. We're part of the side network, and so a lot of the side companies use your KTS,
Hmm.
right? And then it was nice because you have them all pre-written, but then we can go in and change them
Hmm.
to how they make sense for us. So like we don't use 1,000 or like 100 of them, but we, you can kind of like see the ones that make sense for you and then
Yeah.
activate those. That was kind of cool. Um, and then so we're really big on Follow Up Boss. We're really big on social media. I'm like, what else do we use? I use ManyChat now. I just implemented that for Instagram,
Okay.
uh,
Sort of
which
like
I
a
do really.
comment this keyword, and then they'll get a message. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't used that aspect yet. I mean, I actually set it up like a week ago.
Okay.
So it's just trying to like respond to people when they tag me, that kind of a thing. And then we will be doing that though.
Okay.
Um, but
What
yeah,
about
our
your
system's pretty
website?
simple. Okay. So we're on Luxury Presence for Reframe's website. I use Wix for my landing pages. I don't
Instead of luxury
love
presents.
Luxury Presence. It's
Yeah.
beautiful, but I look like everybody else on that website. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I see that.
you know, that's not our vibe. So, yeah, I don't use that a ton. I use my Wix website. What are you guys on, by the way?
My husband built ours, so
Oh, you have a
big deal.
native website. That's nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. My husband built ours too, but on Wix. So, yeah, so that's basically our stack right now.
Oh, and Real Scout. Are you still
And
using?
Real Scout. Yeah, so Real Scout's like our big thing that like we're built on, like in like a big way. Because every single one of our clients is on Real Scout.
Mhm.
So yeah, that was a good point. Um, so we have like we started with mostly buyers. So we have a 3-step onboarding. So someone will book a call on my calendar. I will introduce them to a lender, and then we'll set up a Real Scout call.
Mm.
That's how you become a Reframe client. And
Those three
so
pillars of becoming a client.
yeah, because here's the thing, like Real Scout sending people options, sending people homes keeps them warm, right?
Mhm.
Like other drip campaign, is using the actual inventory to educate people because buyers are like, oh, I don't need a home search yet. I'm on Redfin and Zillow. Okay. Girl Scout is a collaborative tool. So I can actually specifically highlight things for you. And I can go into your file and see all of the homes that are a good fit for you. I don't have to like do a search every single time. I can also see all of the things that you've been looking at and how many times.
Mhm.
So there's that. And then two, like I have people sitting on there for years and then all of a sudden they're activated and they're ready. And they're like, oh, this is great. I've just been looking at homes. Three, if they don't know if they're ready for one, I'm like, listen, just educate yourself on the inventory. I can send this to you once a month. I can send it to you daily or weekly, whatever makes sense for you, doable. But just educate yourself so you know which HOAs you like, which communities you like, which areas you like, because you don't want to say, hey, I'm ready to buy today and have zero knowledge of anything.
Mhm.
It's such a good tool. So when I first started actually, um, when I was a fresh agent before I'd ever sold a home, someone showed me Real Scout. And I was like, this is amazing. This is my marketing tool. Like I'm going to use this
Mhm.
to get clients. And so that's what I did. And it was great.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, because you mentioned I think you're younger than me. Are you 28 years old right now?
I'm 28. What
Yeah,
about you?
yeah. So yeah, you want to use tools that are pretty and people want to use. So like you had mentioned, you don't really use MLS for your clients. You use Real Scout because it's such a better design for them to use.
Yeah, if I like sent somebody an MLS listing, they would be like, what? Why are you doing this? It's like an old Oracle system.
Yes.
It might be an Oracle system. No hate to Oracle, but it's just like it should make sense. And everything in a funnel, in a marketing funnel, is about getting someone to the end, right? And so if you're using the MLS as your funnel, no one's actually activated on that. If you're using a better platform like Real Scout, then everyone's activated. So I look at everything like a funnel.
Yeah.
So I'm like, the more people I can put in the funnel, and then the more people I can get on Real Scout, it gets wider, and then, so I'm actually able to close more deals.
Yeah. So whenever, let's pretend you get a DM from someone brand new and you start a conversation with them, is the next step to book a call with you and then you connect them with your lender and then you add them to Real Scout? Is that how the flow goes?
Yeah, that's the flow. And then they're on Real Scout. And then if someone's actively ready to search, I set up a Real Scout review. So on a Thursday or a Friday, we'll go over all of their options side by side on a Google Meet. And
Mhm.
then I'll say, "Hey, look, these are the 3 communities that I think are really great that you have on your Real Scout. Like, I think you should definitely check these ones out. What do you think of this option? Hey, I know the carpet on here is red. Um, it's 1,000 square feet. It's probably gonna be 6 grand to change it to LVP. So, and you're on the first floor, so it's probably not a problem with your HOA. I would probably think that this is a good option, or hey, there's no photos, but I've been to this community. I know it's great. So we can actually see it side by side and
Mhm.
review with each other. And I can also pull their interest list. I could pull their not interest list. Um, I have my clients put the homes that they don't like in the trash so I can see what they dislike. And then I also have like an auto text feature that sends them the link to download Real Scout on the Apple
Okay.
or Android store,
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Google Play Store. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think people will find this so helpful, and I know for a fact people are gonna ask, "Can I hire Kina to help me with my social media?" I think the answer is no, but you can get a
Yeah.
lot of your questions answered by following you on your different platforms. So I'll put links to all of your handles. So you said it was Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube are your primary social
Mhm.
media platforms you post on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll put that on the bottom. And I was just talking to you before this that you probably need to create something and create a course for
A
people.
a course or a class. I
And
have maybe I will. It's good info, and at least my agents will be able to, go back to it too. So maybe I will.
yeah, because it's one thing to get inspiration from videos like this, but then the nitty gritty of how do you work the algorithm? Do you say specific words in your videos? Do you put specific words in your captions or descriptions? Do you use hashtags? How many do you use? I don't know if you get that granular with algorithms, but um, I know something like that where it's just tangible. This is exactly what I recommend you do. People find that so valuable for sure.
Cool. Yeah, I might actually do that. I might
Stay
I wrote down your resources, so
awesome. Well, thank you, Kina. I really appreciate it, and I'm sure the community will find this super helpful.